me, Nipple Mike, Metallica, Duff Bucket, Memorial Day, popcorn ceilings. Yes, I have dangerous ceilings. And you guys, so how is it? How are you? How was your Memorial Day? Did you have memorials? I'm going to turn this down, this Metallica. I don't know if you picked up on it, but I said nipple mic. I got nipple mic. See? Right here. Nipple mic. So, it's my new mic because it's like, it's a new mic. So I don't have this big, bulky thing. I can walk around. I can go in the other room and I could still broadcast. I could still. I mean, I barely broadcast in this room, but happy Memorial Day, everybody's. I hope you had a good one. I know there's no mail call today because it's the Memorial Days, but you know, it's still a good day off if you have a job and you need a day off. You got it today. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. It reminds you about why you work every day. I don't know. There's some philosophic thing about work and then having a day off. Everybody likes a day off. So, I'm going to turn that down. It's Metallica. And I'm going to check in with the Magic Duff Bucket. And let me say hi to people. Yes, Hans, my ceiling is a popcorn ceiling. They invented these back in the day. This was, I think, after The Exorcist premiered. And, you know, Reagan was crawling around on the ceiling. And they're like, well, the next time a child is possessed by Pazazu, we got to keep that kid off the ceiling. What are we going to do? Well, we can make it really uncomfortable for Pazazu-possessed children to crawl around on the ceilings. We'll make them real rough. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll make it and you know what? It worked because no kids crawling around on the ceilings anymore. Not in my house. So I think that's the thing. The haircut has not happened, Phil. This is not. There's no hair. This is like showered, and you're gonna see it blossom over the course of the live tonight. It'll bloom like a flower as my hair dries and then the humidity takes its toll, and it'll just expand. It'll reach its full glory. So let me see who's all here. Mark, Mike, good to see you guys. I said hi to Hans. Eric with an H is here. I like that. Phil is here. You can tell by the look in his eyes. His eyes tell me, that's right, I am a badass. If I wanted to, I could scrape my own knuckles against the ceiling. Yeah, you know, and then if you had like a hammer and you're going to hit somebody, you're like, and then you drop the hammer because you dragged it across that ceiling. Number one's here. Prince approve of the nipple mic. Pizza Giraffe's here. Good to see you, Pizza Giraffe. I always felt uncomfortable saying Happy Memorial Day. Well, yeah, I'm saying Happy Day Off. You don't want to say Happy Memorial Day. A lot of people get Memorial Day confused with Veterans Day. Thorn Willow Press did an oopsie. Somebody shared it on the Facebooks. Thorn Willow Press, in honor of Memorial Day, was giving out or selling thank you cards. Who exactly are you thanking on Memorial Day? Think about it. Shouldn't take that long. Memorial Day is a day to commemorate the fallen soldiers, fallen military people who've died in battle. You can't really thank the deceased. I mean, as nice as the card may be, they're not going to receive it. So we'll get it mixed up. It's like, it's not Veterans Day. Veterans Day, you could thank, like Stephen Dwayne Ellison Jr., let's thank him. He served, I believe, in the Navy, Stephen Dwayne Ellison Jr. You could, correct me if I'm wrong. Pazazu says, challenge accepted. Well, Pazazu, I hope you got those knee pads, like what the floor installer guys wear, or gals, whoever's installing the floor. If they're bonded and licensed, they probably have these shin guards, like they're catchers, because they're on their knees all day, banging in the floor and doing whatever they do with their magics. And Pizzazzu, maybe he's a floorer now because he's got to make ends meet. He has those, and then he could run around on the ceiling. So yeah, I mean, if you decided to break into my home and sort of like try to avoid detection by clinging to the ceiling, you're like, ow, 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 you know, it's just not going to work out that well for you. My daughter's spider walks. We are getting her help though. Well, that's good. You get an old priest and a young priest is what you usually, I think that's what you do. Brain freeze. Oh yes. I had to stop myself from telling people it isn't Veterans Day about 50 times. Learn your national holidays, folks. Yeah. Yes, I was a squid. Well, I have a cousin who joined the Navy, and man, he never left. He got married, and his wife and his kids have always been, moving around to the port towns where he's, deployed. When he's in the Navy, he's on these big boats. He's on a boat. Maybe he's just been on a cruise for 20 years. I don't know. He says it's the Navy. Being on a cruise for 20 years would be expensive. So, anyway, I wasn't judging, just making a point that I never know what to say other than want a beer and a burger. No, I know, and I think, number one, Phil was responding. I think I said, happy Memorial. I think I might have said that because I want people to be happy, and it is Memorial Day. So those two things, it's tough. It's tough. Let's just, let's move on. Let's agree that the Duff Bucket has something for me. What is this? This is Howdy Do. Howdy Do. Homestyle hard brewed tea. Tip and sip. From the Redneck Riviera. I got this at Walmart. And I like how they have instructions on it. But you'll notice it doesn't say anything about opening the can. Fail. Like, I need the pizza, the frozen pizza company to say, take it out of the wrapper. I can't tell you how many pizzas I thought plastic was a topping. And so it says tip and sip, but that's just not going to... Tip and sip. Okay, this is an adventure for me. This is where I go when the Rapture Brewing beaten path. I didn't know a homemade iced tea thing would be carbonated. And there goes Couch Kitty. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. It tastes like a shandy or something. And what do we got here? 8% alcohol by volume. Ooh, 8%. It's not exactly the fast lane, but instead of Happy Memorial Day, let's wish Stephen Dwayne Ellison Jr. a very happy birthday. Yes, happy birthday, Stephen Dwayne Ellison Jr. I got you a Suntup gift card. No, I didn't. I shouldn't make... I got to realize this is, recorded, and then I can be sued because it's like, hey, you promised me a gift card. Where is it? Full disclaimer, there's no gift card. There's none gift card. Patty's here. Hello, Patty. Thank you for changing the subject by showing up. I was getting myself in a legal bind. So we're going to try to do this again with my my camera here, my phone. Up here to run it through there, and I'm reading the comments there. If it gets all kerflooey, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to get a decent camera, but budgets are what they are. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean. That was cold, Jeff. Oh, well, it's cold. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing Prince, it's because, did you see do you notice? I can get far away. I could talk to you from over here because I got nipple mic. Nipple mic. That's the sign language for nipple mic. I think Producer Jill's in a different room today. She's like, I'm not going to be anywhere near this. If she was in the room she's normally in, I'd hear, no, I'd hear it. Like, no, stop. Nipple mic. That's, how does a channel get demonetized? Nipple mic. But I'm happy I can walk away, and still you can hear me. Maybe Z-Man can give you some camera pointers. Yes. Yeah, man, you got purple. So I got purple dark matter. That's why. How many times do you have, oh, that's what the tea does to your voice. How many times do you have the opportunity to wear a purple shirt? Like, for a real reason, I got purple dark matter. That sounds like something you go to a doctor for. Oh, and why are you here today? Well, I got purple dark matter. What? In that secret place, I got purple dark matter. Man, this is what you get on a Memorial Day broadcast. This is like, rules are off. Nipple mic, purple dark matter. I don't know what you get a lotion for that, and it goes away. Purple nurple mic, that's pretty good. Yeah, Jeff, get a great camera and record yourself reading. Oh, well, I have Z-Man on deck to talk about. Mitch is here. Viking fans wear it. Yeah. Do they really, though? I heard about a new NFL rule that pissed me off. Okay, check this out. In the new NFL rule, at kickoff, excuse me. Did Nipple Mike pick that up? Nipple Mike. The new rule in the NFL is during the kickoff, when they kick the ball and the other team goes to catch it, if the receiver does fair catch and waits for a fair catch, he automatically gets the ball at the 25-yard line. At this point, they should just say, you know what, we're going to avoid the kickoffs altogether, and you're going to start at the 25-yard line. You could catch it deep in your territory, and why would you'd never have another Devin Hester that he's the only one in NFL history and a Super Bowl to return a kickoff for a touchdown. I think the opening kickoff, whatever it was history making. All I know is Rex Grossman started that game with a touchdown, and he still lost it. What a pile of shit Rex Grossman was. But if you're gonna kick the ball off, and the guy's gonna do a fair catch, and he's gonna get it at the 25-yard line, then just do away with the kickoff. You didn't expect an NFL rant. I didn't expect an NFL rant. But then Mark goes and mentions the Vikings. All right. Okay, I'm going to record my unboxing. I'm hoping for purple or green, and I'm going to bet y'all I get blue. I got to say, I don't know what color I really wanted. I asked the week before, and producer Jill wanted purple, and then I got purple. So who's really running the show, I got some new purple towels, but after every shower, I found purple sores all over my legs and torso. I went to the doctor, and he told me I got new towels, and I got a case of the fuzzies. Wash my towels. You didn't go to a doctor over the fuzzies, did you? You didn't do that for real, Hans. I don't think you did. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Mitch, get this guy some stout. Yeah, I mean, it's hard iced tea here. I need to send him some. His lives have been rough the past couple of weeks without Rapture. Yeah. That new NFL rule is booty. I thought booty was a good thing. I don't know. I mean, that's the kind of vibe this live has. The lives, I never know what's going to happen. I just go. And then they just, take a turn for a worse, and then they just keep turning. Listen, we came here for ski rants, books, and beer, not football. Okay, he's drinking some Mountain Doo-Doo, Mitch. It's a howdy-do. Howdy do. I mean, when you see, I saw the howdy do on the shelf and it was yelling at me. And I'm like, I'm the only one who can yell. And I'm like, okay, well, 8% ABV. All right. Tip and sip. It's got instructions. Okay. I like iced tea. I don't know. 8%. Agreed. If he gives a sign at the 10, he gets a 15-yard bonus. If he gives a sign at the 5-yard line, if it's a deep kick, what the kickers, it also okay. See, okay, the kicker doesn't matter anymore, right? You got to kick a field goal, but you don't have that kickoff game. So the kicker is not incentivized to go deep into the end zone. Now they're going to be aiming, usually it's like it took a favorable bounce. It stopped on the 1-yard line. They're deep and there's some drama there. Now it's like wait for a fair catch, whatever. The kicker's going to want to put it at like the 20-yard line. So the guy's like, "Oh, well, can I get 10 yards instead of just this 5-yard business?" It's going to change the game. It's stupid. Just don't have football anymore. Just call it a day. Say, "We had a good run. Now it's over." If you'd like to try, someone would like to try this. This is not chasing the football rant time. It is chasing the boogeyman rant. Yeah, I don't know about chasing the boogeyman. Is there anything about it? I ordered my PS different seasons direct through Cemetery Dance, as I always do, but they never sent me an email. I emailed them and had to pay with PayPal. To be honest, I feel like Chismar wrote that new kickoff rule. If he wrote the kickoff rule, if Chismar wrote the new kickoff rule, it would be the cheerleaders have to spell out Chismar, and then everybody has to buy and show a receipt for purchasing Chasing the Boogeyman. And then if they kicked the ball, it wouldn't even matter because Chismar would then go home. He wouldn't even be there for the game because he just wants you to do all his marketing for him. XFL rules are better than NFL rules. Well, I got to watch that. They're trying to diminish the one thing that still puts the foot in football. Can we just call it throw ball and be done with it? Yeah, I like throw ball. Or in Chicago, they call it troll ball. Hey, some troll ball with the Bears. It's a disaster. Everything's dying. We're done here. Last one out, shut off the lights. But I have no chasing the boogeyman rants. I do have a CD rant. Okay. That CD announced Mr. Purple. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Was that too loud for nipple mic? I didn't even think about that. I'm wearing a purple shirt and I'm going to bash Mr. Purple. Damn it. I fell right into my own trap. I told you I don't plan these. These just go the way they're going to go. Well, now I feel stupid. Well, I mean, stupider. But CD was plugging Mr. Purple. And now, okay. So I also, this is like not a Levidian rant. Trust me, it's not a Levidian rant. But I was thinking further about how my whole problem with Brian James Freeman's handling of Mr. Purple was that he hyped it. And I said that last week. Why did he hype this chapbook? Mr. Purple, why did he hype it? And I didn't really formulate my thoughts about what the hype was last week, but it was because he teased the artwork. So here is a chapbook that no one's read by an author no one's read. And yet, he puts artwork up there that's supposed to convey scenes from a story. And he's saying this is coming next. And it's by a guest author. So if your brain is working, you're like, oh, he's given us something that he thinks will make us guess correctly, or at least be excited for what it could be. For example, Gone South was that. People guessed it. It was a house on the bayou. and everybody's like, ooh, you know, and some people did guess it. So why would he show snippets of an artwork to a story nobody's ever read, forcing people to guess whatever they might have guessed? It looked, nobody would know what that was, and he put it out there as this sort of tantalizing tidbit, but it was never going to be guessed. And I don't know. So I just think Brian James Freeman, his reputation isn't tarnished in the slightest with me. So this is not, but that could have been done better. Lesson learned. He's done everything else spectacularly well. So this, but yeah, maybe handle the chiz with caution. If you're gonna touch the chiz, then just like maybe be diplomatic, or because I don't know, Chizmar has his rabid fans. I can't even begin to understand why or how, but people back him up. And so anyway, so here's what I'm going to do. When I get Mr. Purple, and I'm getting Mr. Purple, just going to let that, just again, a 7-second delay. If this was a professional gig, you'd have somebody on the board, and you'd never know. It was a 7-second delay. But I have to do this manually, is the thing. When I get that chapbook, it is going immediately to the top of my TBR, and I'm going to review it honestly. I'm going to give it an honest review. If it is a garbage novella, I will say it's a garbage novella loudly into nipple mic and record that. Because I don't like when people push. There's another booktuber who's a really great guy, very nice guy. He just did a video, top 10 things he won't do on his channel. His name's Criminali. And one of the top 10 things he won't do, and this is like a book tag thing, I might actually do it. I don't know. It goes around, and I would, of course, tag him in the comments. But he's got a huge popular following. And I realize the more popular booktubers are very even-keeled people. They're very, very mature. They're very soft-spoken. They're very collected. They don't take to sort of rants. They don't rant. And he did one where he will not bash an indie author. If an indie author sends him a book and there's no redeemable value to the book, he will not review it. He'll mention it, that he read it. He will give an honest take on his mention, and he'll drop it. And he will email the author ahead of time saying to that author, I did not like this book. It had these number of problems. It's not going to get a full-blown on my channel. And I wrote in a comment under that, I said, well, that's not good. That's not helping anybody. Either don't mention it at all or give an honest review. So if I got a book that was bad all the way through, I did get a book that was bad all the way through. I don't remember how I handled it. No, I did. I do. I did get a book that was awful, just complete garbage from a really good guy. He was representing the author, but the book was worse than toilet paper because you couldn't even wipe your ass with it. And I'm like, I'm not talking about this book because you're bringing it. Now you're attaching some sort of legitimacy to it. If you got trust, and basically you're losing trust with your viewers. And also, you're creating awareness for an author that maybe needs to go in a timeout until they're ready for prime time. Work on the book, get it up to speed, or abandon this whole author dream. It's a waste of everybody's time. And I said that. I go, just don't review it. And because like I said, it's just like there's an author who's pursuing a dream that perhaps that author should not. And if this is just a really bad first go, and it's an awful independently published book because there are no gatekeepers, there's no editors, they just went and did it on their own, and they improve over time, the stigma from a complete trash crap book is going to stick with them and it'll drag them down forever. So don't draw attention to it. Give them a chance to mature and develop and all that stuff. But if I'm going to have Billy Chismar promoted and hyped and made into this thing based on nepotism, he had better be excellent all on his own. And I'm leaving that door open. I'm saying, like, that's possible. This book could be excellent. This novella could be stunning, and I could have a new favorite author, and I'll want to get him on the channel to talk to him, and all these things. And I won't even bash him about Big Chiz, you know, Chiz Whiz Biz. I'm totally leaving that open as a possibility. And it might be an okay book, and therefore I'm not going to bash him, but I'm going to give a very honest review. And it's going right to the top of my TBR. If we're going to play these games of hyping someone, then let's be honest about it. I would never have hyped Philip Fracassi if his stuff wasn't awesome. I would give an honest review. Like Jonathan Jans, Marla, gave an honest review of Marla. Not really my bag. I didn't think it was all that great, but it wasn't bad. I think a few little tweaks maybe would have elevated another star. Would it have been a 5-star read? No, not in my opinion. I don't think it could have ascended to that level. So anyway, I'm never gonna not be honest. For example, look what I got in the mail. Kevin Lucia's book, The Horror at Pleasant Brook. Now, this was previously a Thunderstorm publication. It is now going to be a Crystal Lake Publishing publication, the trade edition. And I'm reading it. I started it. He sent me one. I'm going to give an honest review. But where I'm not going into it with a chip on my shoulder is having him so overblown hype. He messaged me. He said, hey, if I send you the book, will you read it and give an honest review? I said, yeah. That's how it should go, right? He's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing. We're all doing things. He's it's not like his daddy is cupping King's balls and therefore now we all got to deal with him. Oh, is my screen quality's getting bad again? See, I don't know if this is a good way to go. Anyway, let's see what some of the comments are saying. They're trying. Okay, CD rant. Yeah, it's kind of a CD rant. You're getting Barney on us. Oh boy. Every purchase of a football ticket comes with a free copy of Chasing the Boogeyman. Yeah, they're all taped underneath the seats in the stadium. To be honest, I'm so disappointed with Mr. Purple. Yeah, late but here finally, Jason. Yeah, you didn't read it yet, obviously. It's coming out. He's still the best publisher right now, tied with Paul Miller for me, but that was his first blemish in my eyes, and not even a big blemish. Let's call off the dogs. Let's not be that guy. I'm talking about myself here. Let's not, I wouldn't even go as far as saying it's a strike. I mean, okay, to be honest, let's look at it this way. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's be Hans for a minute. Hans always takes the flip side of what I argue about, and I think that's a healthy thing. So he's running a business. He wants to be excited. He shouldn't put out something he's not excited about, right? So he's going to hype it. It's all part of the thing, part of the marketing. I just think it blew up in his fingers because everybody's like, really? Anyway, that's me being devil's advocate. All the adjectives you just mentioned are the reasons you will never see me on YouTube. Yeah. What was it? Girl on the porch? Girl on the porch, man. Hold on, let me take a sip. I needed a sip. All right, so Girl on the Porch recently has seen an expanded revised edition. Maybe they put actual story into it. Because here's Girl on the Porch in a nutshell, if you've never read it. Richard Chismar one day turned on the news, and on the news was a story about a woman trying to, caught on someone's Ring camera, trying to get help, and she had bracelets or shackles on her hands, and then she walked away, and nobody ever knew who she was. So Richard Chismar saw that headline and said, I'm going to write a story based on that. And in Richard Chismar's brain, writing a story about that meant writing that headline down on the title of the book and then writing about how he likes to flirt with his wife and what a cool guy he is for like 100 pages with really generous margins and real big type. He's like, I'll take that and I'll use that as a title for the book, and then I'll write about how great my suburban life is and how I like all my friends, and I'll make money. It's like, Richard, just get a blog. That's what people used to do. Just get a blog. You know what? And you could have a blurb on there. I know Stephen King, and there you go. That's your business plan, because that's where your heart is. Well, they did a recently revised and expanded version. Maybe he just wanted an added detail about this new Tesla he bought or something. Maybe he's like, I didn't think I realized my full potential in that story. I need to add, what kind of car was in my garage? He actually does talk about his car in that book, I believe. But maybe it wasn't enough. No, I needed a Lambo. I don't know. I'm not going to read it. It's the most pointless book I've ever read in my life. So who do we got here? What are we saying? Why would he do that? Why not just let Daddy out the thing and distance yourself from CD? Yeah, I think Brian James Freeman sees them like family. He's close with them. So he's on Team Chiz, and like I said, I think he was just being a good family friend. Beyond that, I don't know. Shiz Book Club for Mr. Purple. I like that, Mitch. We should do a read along. Stop talking crap about 11/22/63. I was just going to mention that because our boy Z-Man came out with a video right before I came live because he knew this was going to happen. He's like, I'm going to steal Beef Daddy's thunder. Not that he has much thunder. He didn't know I had nipple mic. And he posted a video, his revised top 10 Stephen King reads, because he's just going to talk about Stephen King because that gets the clicks, that gets the views. I'm not going to talk about Stephen King unless there's a reason, like a new book. Like, I'm not even going to read Holly. Everybody's going to be jumping on that. Like little guppies, whoa, a little carp in the water coming up to get those King kibble bits. Oh, I get more views with the King. I don't want to read Holly, but Pizza Giraffe, you can. I'm sorry, you totally can, and I really hope you enjoy. I hope it's his best book he's ever written. But Z-Man came out with a new list, and his list last time around, so he does one every year because he's got to reread all the King books every year. And he did one last year. And Dreamcatcher's one of the most hated Stephen King books, which it didn't even make my worst Stephen King list because, yeah, I know, I'm a hypocrite. I have a King list too. See? I ain't so high and mighty now, my purple shirt. But I didn't even put Dreamcatcher on my bottom 5 because I didn't even think about it. It's such a non-factor, that book. And it's in his top 10. It was number 10 last year. Well, it's out now. Spoiler, I'm sorry, Mitch. I know you like to grab your blanket and your binky and put on Z-Man and go to bed. But his top 10 list, 11/22/63, is the top of the list. And Dreamcatcher was shown the door. And he referred to, and I quote here, he referred to Green Mile, which is like one of King's most treasured works. People love the Green Mile. A lot maybe because of the movie, but just everybody loved it. He refers to The Green Mile as famous-ish, but really solid and underrated. He calls it one of King's most underrated books. So there's that. Now you could go watch and fact check me if you'd like. I love Marla. I know you did, and that's okay. It was a meh book for me, but I would never have started the Freaks page with Stephen Van Alsten Jr. and Joshua Poblano if Philip Fracassi didn't deserve it. No doubt about it. How's the book going so far? It's actually really interesting. And Mike, I know I just said this, but Marla was meh for me. This book started out feeling like Marla, but better. It's a weird thing, but some of the writing feels similar to Marla, but this has some balls. Like, this doesn't feel like a YA book. Not at all. I mean, where Marla felt like it was a mighty fine horror book for maybe late teen people. It just didn't strike me that way, and it's my opinion, But this feels like a Marla for adults who really like horror. There's some parts in this. So far, I'm just started it, and I like it. So I like it. Not a 5-star so far. It could turn that, corner. What is missing from your Suntub shelf behind you? There's this big space between Biblio Mysteries and Omen. Oh, Biblio Mysteries and Omen? Where? Biblio Mysteries. Oh, Handmaid's Tale and Omen. That's this book. That's this book. I just got it. I didn't know if anybody wanted a show and tell. This is dark matter. It's purple. It's like, look, it's purple. Oh, I hit nipple, Mike. It's purple. So that's the space. I think this turned out splendid. And I got it because Jill said last week she wanted purple. So, now she wants green. So see how she is fickle. Fickle. To be honest, he built up my expectations. Oh, no. Okay. To be honest, he built up my expectations so much with the release only to be pumping up a Billy Chiz release. I'm not subscribed to his Patreon for a reason. I had to take a double take when I saw the name. Oh, you're not subscribed to Billy Chiz's Patreon for a reason. I see. That's a good point, because William Chismar, W.H. Chiz, has his own Patreon. Why is he over there on Brian James Freeman's? Like, why doesn't he just do his Chismar chapbook? That's a good point. I didn't even consider that. What I was going to say, but was trying not to play devil's advocate, was imagine your old publishing buddy wanted you to do a chapbook for his young author's son. Wouldn't you promote the F? No, that's the thing, because Brian James Freeman, I think you should say, no, I'll do it. I'll give it a shot, but handle it a different way, because now it is his name attached to the hype. And then now next time it's going to be like, oh, most of the time when Brian James Freeman hypes something, it's worth it. But like I said, I'm going to read the novella and I'm going to give an honest review. Am I hoping it's awful? Yes. Yes, I'm hoping it's awful. But I'm very open-minded, and I if it is great. Now, actually, me hoping it's awful is going to help it, because I'm expecting disaster. I'm expecting a wretch of a book. And if I get something better than that, or even slightly better, then that boosts it a little more. So I'm actually doing a favor to the book. I watched Annihilation with Natalie Portman this weekend. I didn't know it was based on the first Southern Reach book by Vandermeer. Loved it, and now I have that trilogy. Now I have to have that trilogy. Yeah, I haven't read it. I only read one Vandermeer. Absolutely loved it. That was the Complete Born. People told me about the Border trilogy or the Southern Reach trilogy, the Annihilation, Acceptance, or whatever the three books are. Um, before I even read any Vandermeer a long time ago, somebody I really respect who recommended Station 11 to me, and it was excellent. She also recommended the trilogy. Said the first book was phenomenal, and then the other ones had diminishing returns. So the next one was okay, and then the last one just went haywire. But it's by design. Vandermeer, it's part of the story where things get broken up and reality gets shook. You know, so I haven't read it yet. I am very curious to read it. Where's Annihilation at? Oh, Showtime. Okay. Well, yeah, definitely promote it, but don't pump it like it's a big author. If it was Richie, then I get it because he's popular right now. Billy isn't a big deal. No. Where's Richie Lupo? Remember, is that what Steven Seagal walked around in one movie? What was he saying? Who killed Richie Lupo, or was he looking for Richie Lupo? Steven Seagal, man, he made awful movies, but they were so awful. I really liked it. Went in it blind, and at the end, said it was based on the book. Oh, I looked it up. He was hyping it to the point I thought it was McCammon Chappie or something, or another Joe Hill Chappie. I thought it was maybe another. I thought it had to be somebody big, some huge deal. How dare you spoil a Z-Man video? I know. I also spoiled. Well, I spoiled the color of the book I got too. So if you watch that video, it's kind of a big deal. That was the only Southern Reach book I have read. Thought it was decent. Well, I think the other ones get worse, but I think I would like them because Complete Born was bonkers. That was bonkers. It wasn't as smart as Blind Sight or Neuromancer, but it was just. I mean, it was. There was things about Blind Sight which was just brilliant. 1,000 megawatt brilliant book. Neuromancer is just slightly less brilliant. Just something about the whole. You just kind of hang on by your fingernails when you read those books. You don't entirely know what's going on sometimes if if you got a soupy mess of a brain like I do. They demand a reread, like Blind Sight. I have to reread. Brilliant writer, Peter Watts. What an amazing guy. And so Vandermeer also has that talent of creating a very surreal experience where you're not exactly sure what's going on, but you love being there. Complete Born has this big flying bear. I mean, it's nuts. And I never read Dead Astronauts, even though that takes place in the Bourne universe. And I haven't read Finch, which I have, and I haven't read anything else. But which is weird because it's like a mood read. You have to be in the mood to read that. I don't know if it gets you in, like if you read it, then you'll find yourself always in the mood to read it. But anyway. Where are we at? That was the only. Okay, yes. Is that book out now, Jeff? What are you talking about? Which one? I'm going to read the chapbook from Brian James Freeman next. Doing dirty work. Yes. So a chapbook I was happy to get. Brian James Freeman. I'm supporting his Patreon. He sends a chapbook. I read one story by Brian James Freeman, and it was excellent. It was a guy who takes pictures of. Well, it's very morbid. It's a great read. And this is Brian James Freeman, signed by him and Francois Villancourt. I mean, come on. And here, the Billy Chiz chapbook as Glenn Chadbourne artwork. So, say what you will about Glenn Chadbourne. I actually think the artwork in Mr. Purple looks great. I didn't even realize it was Glenn Chadbourne. It's like he's showing more range than I realized he was capable of. Because his Stephen King stuff is kind of batty, you know. His Bird Box illustrations were great, though. I thought he did a really great job of being subtle and not like filling the page, every square inch of the page with lines. And then Mr. Purple looked really cool too. So that said, I like the artwork, but yeah, doing dirty work, and I will say it does take a little gas, little does knock the MPH down a little bit. I can't recommend the Patreon with such gusto as I did previously because the chapbook he's doing is Mr. Purple by William Chismar. So it does hinder that, but I will say you get incredible value for your support of Brian James Freeman's Patreon. No two ways about it. I'm going to feature this in my book haul video, which is going to post tomorrow, the day after. I don't know. I've got to go early to rise. Okay, Phil, take it easy. Glad you could be here. Sort of disappointed in all of you. I gave you all a chance to huzzah producer Jill before I did, and y'all failed to do so. So producer Jill, huzzah from Hans. Producer Jill says thank you. She said it again. Huzzah. Very kind of you. Vandermeer books are so smart, they require a reread. Well, okay, yeah, and I like books like that. There are some books that are just like, what? I don't care to learn. But then Blind Sight, I know Blind Sight's a book that's so smart and so dense that I guarantee rereading it, I'm going to read a completely different book. It's so amazing. I can't recommend that book enough. The book you was reading, you said, was kind of like Marla. Oh, yeah. That was The Horror at Pleasant Brook by Kevin Lucia. You can find it as a Thunderstorm book on the secondary, but it is coming out October from Crystal Lake Publishing. If you liked Marla, you will like this. I think. I mean, I'm only, I'm very early on into the book, like 25 pages in. And so it's a little premature. Maybe it goes off the rails in a bad way. I don't know. But for me, the writing style and the sort of small town thing, community vibe is, I think a lot of people try to write these small town books because it's usually a great trope. People love it. And I think Philip Fricassi's got gold to mine with Sabbath. He is a town that he's been to a couple of times in some short stories. And he's got something there. And I would love to see that fleshed out in a full-length novel. But the danger of trying to do something that focuses on a small town, if you don't have the heart of the small town already fully developed in your mind and you can't capture the people in a believable way, you end up something a little cartoonish. And I think Marla got to there. This book started out pretty bad that way. I'm like, oh no. But I mean, it started out like I'm just started, so it was like the first few pages didn't sit well with me, but it got better and better. And then it, in my opinion, blew past Marla in some ways. I'm still, reserving judgment. You want to pour me some more howdy do? Howdy do! Pretty good. It doesn't hold a candle to Rapture Brews sours. Okay, found it. Thanks. I enjoyed Marla, but like you, I would have liked it better if it was a little less YA feel to it. Yeah. Now, I will say Jonathan Jans is a teacher. I don't know if what grade he teaches. I don't know if he's a high school teacher. So maybe he's like got that sort of sensibility to his work. Maybe that's he's in that mode as a teacher, and maybe he thinks he's worried about his students reading his work, or I don't know. Who I think could work for young audiences, but doesn't feel YA is Josh Malerman. His books, he doesn't write about certain things, and he says he would never feel comfortable writing like a sex scene. He just wouldn't feel right. Doesn't feel comfortable as an author to convey it. Maybe he thinks it'll be too absurd or too silly, or just never. Maybe it just doesn't strike him. Maybe that's just not how his muse works, right? So that's fine, and he leaves it alone. And in some regards, that can make it suitable for younger audiences, because he also doesn't go full gore. If you think about Bird Box, I wouldn't have any issue recommending that book to 14-year-old, probably. I don't know. You have to be mature enough to understand some dangers of like mental health issues, the complexities of insanity and all that. But you don't have to go too deep. But Bobby, and it wasn't that gory. Well, I guess there were some parts. But Bobby Knox, which is the novella or the short story attached to that, is a little more graphic. Anyway, so I thought Marla was it played it safe in some ways. You just had to believe people were scared to death. You just had to take the author's word for it. It wasn't. There was a lot of show. There was a lot of telling and a little bit of show. Not enough showing. If a book just tells you what to think, like this happened, and you need to believe how horrible it was, it's not going to go bone deep. It's not going to go all the way into your consciousness. It's just going to sort of sit there. Okay, if you say so. I'm not convinced. I wasn't in that moment, so you got to put me in that moment, in that state of mind. And that requires a talent. Anyway, not to diminish anything for anybody who liked Marla. All the books are for all the people all the time. Let's just, not all the books, some of the books are for some of the people some of the time. That's the better way to say it. So strike that last part from the record if there's a jury. Russell's sorry that he's late. No, Russell, don't be sorry. And I can't wait till you can see a Luna moth up close and in person. You and rolled oats. See all the Luna moths you want. Soon, hopefully. Rooting for you guys. Hey, Scully's here. Good to see you. It could be he's trying to grab a larger audience. That is true. That could be the tactic. I don't think that's what an author should do. I think you need to write the story. And it goes to the people it's meant to go to. It might be a stupid romanticized way of looking at storytelling, but I don't think you should say, well, I want to get a bigger market slice. I don't know. Daphne is pretty YA. I heard that. Jeff and Jill went up the hill to fetch some books, a box of books. And he took them to the beach. Jeff and Jill went up the hill. He took a book to the beach and wrapped it in a wet towel. Pearl, a.k.a. on this The Day of the Pig, is pure horror and gory. Yeah, that's one I don't think I would recommend to the kiddos. Because that was bad, brutal. I love that book. In parts it was. Pearl was great. Yeah. So, speaking of Fracassi was hanging out with Malerman. Are they going to write a book called The Drunkening? I don't know. I was so jealous. He was like, hey, he stopped in to visit a friend. And then he posts a picture. He shares a picture of him and Josh. Or just Josh. And then him and Josh. And then, of course, he's wearing a Rapture sweatshirt. And apparently, Mitch sent Josh Malerman Rapture wear. Mitch works it. He works those angles, which is excellent. And be the official beer of the horror book community. Yes. And I wouldn't hype Rapture if it wasn't so fantastic. I really wouldn't. I mean, I've read a bunch of authors for this channel, and you know, I hype the ones that are just insanely awesome. It's true. Chad Lutsky, Philip Fracassi, Josh Mallerman. I wouldn't mention those names if they weren't just gold. Thomas Oldehoevelt, fantastic. Anyway. Good night. I'm going to log out, but I've got a long day and an early start tomorrow. We'll watch the. Okay, Patty. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Appreciate your time. Oh man, a collab with those two would be outstanding. It would be. I don't know how that happens. I don't know if like they exchange chapters or they concoct a book idea and then. But that would be epic. I would love that. That would be awesome. But in the meantime, Fracassi also announced he's releasing you can order it right now, as a matter of fact, the trade edition of Don't Let Them Get You Down. I am just so thrilled that this is getting a trade edition release. This is the Zagava paperback, which is more expensive than the trade paperback, and it's limited, so there aren't that many of these, and they're overseas. So if you're stateside and you want Don't Let Them Get You Down, I got to tell you, it's a different read. It's not genre fiction. It is literature. It is literary, if that's the more proper way of saying that. But it is a 5-star read, without a doubt. I need to reread it. Like I said, the first time I approached with caution because the way it struck me, the first part of it, and then it rolled, and it's just brilliant. This is a brilliant book, and I'm so glad it's getting a wider release through Alter Publishing, which is Philip Fracassi's imprint, and I'm definitely going to get a copy of that. So I have the Alter. So it'll be little instead of the Zagava logo, it'll be Alter Publishing on the spine, which is cool. You got to get it. You got to cover yourself in every universe. And I recommend that too. The link is in the description of this video already. So if you are of a mind, and like I said, it's not genre. You're not going to get, it's not a horror book. It's not a sci-fi book. It's not a thriller, one of those. It's a very introspective look at grief, depression, and human suffering. But perfectly done. I know saying, hey, you want to read a book about grief and depression? Oh, sign me up. I was in too good of a mood. Yeah, I understand that's not the best way to sell a book, but it's deep. And for those who get it, and I've talked about this before, it hits perfectly. It's an amazing book. Maybe it's not for everybody, but if you are a Fracassi fan and you want to get some of that range, see what this guy can do when he goes deep, there it is. And in the meantime, yes, you can enjoy Boys in the Valley, Gothic, Commodore, Saculina, all those other books that are just amazing, entertaining, fun, thrill ride, dark, all that stuff is there. So not to diminish those books in the least. Child Alone with Strangers. How can I forget that one? It's the biggest one. It's amazing. So that's my Fracassi plug. Okay. Did you guys order a Dark Regions Press rant? Well, you just got one, or you're getting one. You didn't get it yet, but a Dark Regions Press. So 2 days remain for the Fracassi Kickstarter. Oh, I'm sorry. For the book tour, it's in my description as well. Only 2 days left to get this man to. We want to send him to the SpaceX. He's going to Mars. He's going to sign books on Mars. You're going to get some of them Martian books. We want Philip Fracassi to travel first class in his Winnebago on this book tour. So 2 days left to support it. Get that screenplay. You're going to hate yourself if you don't get it. Luke Spooner art, cool wraparound dust jacket, amazing stuff. So I can't recommend that enough. New introduction to these screenplays. Good stuff. Great stuff. Excellent stuff. It's a very good book, but very different from normal Fracassi fare. Yeah, that's don't let them get you down. So, Dark Regions Press. What the hell is going on with these people? They're publishing books, then they stop. I'm still waiting on my Mallory, but I got my off season, or my off spring. They couldn't do Wolf Hunt 3 themselves, so they had to delegate that out to Weird House. So Weird House handled the fulfillment of that book. What the hell is going? They're selling all these books, but they're scraping. They're scraping. They're at the very bottom. They got nowhere left to go. They just sent out a newsletter where they're taking pre-orders. They're taking pre-orders for the Barnes & Noble bonded leather edition of The Stand that came out January 1st, 2020. They're taking pre-orders for it. Maybe this is an email that was just stuck in the junk filter. Maybe it was stuck somewhere and it never went out, and then it just got sent. But they're taking pre-orders for a book that's more than 3 years old. And you can get it right now for you could probably find it on eBay for, if you get it for $25, you got a deal. If you get it for $32 or so, you're right where you need to be. And they're taking pre-orders for it. They're also selling a really shitty rebind of Salem's Lot. Now, one day I was on eBay, which you should not do, boys and girls. Stay off of eBay. It's a bad place that sells anything you could ever hope for. And therefore, you will buy things. So don't go there. But I was there one day, and I looked up Bird Box or some book, and they said Bird Box Rebind. I'm like, oh, Dragon Rebound, Curious King did that, Ready Player One Rebind. So the word rebind in my brain has good connotations. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I looked at it. I'm like, oh, it's okay. The stamping on the spine is a little basic. And there's really nothing to it. It's a trade edition that's put in some new boards. And they call it quarter leather binding, but I don't know if it's real leather. And so I looked at it, and then I looked at other, and it turns out, I clicked on it, seller's other items, and this seller does the same rebind for every book you can imagine. There's an It, The Stand, there's the Salem's Lot, and their list goes on and on and on, and they're all for $59. Buy it now, $59. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, well, this person's got a little shop, and they do a title, and they source a trade edition. I don't even know if it's a first printing, whatever. And then they got these boards and these materials. They know what they do. It's a very assembly line. Bam. And Dark Regions Press is selling a Salem's Lot like it's something special. What are you doing? What are you doing? Jason's here. Howdy, friends. I forgot it was Monday. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, that's it's throwing somebody off. Had to get PS different seasons from Dark Regions Press. Oh yeah, I mean, in some ways they come in a pinch, but they were charging $250, I believe, for that book, which is like double, or a little less than double. It's a third, whatever. I still haven't bought mine. They said we're reserving your different seasons. They're going to save my special number, my special lady number, and but they haven't given me a link to buy it, so I don't even know if I'm getting different seasons from them. So I don't know. That Barnes & Noble stand also got added to the SK subscription. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Oh man. Oh, what a I looked at that book when it first came out. The Stand's my favorite Stephen King book, right? One of them. And I did get suckered into this one. Oh, look, yeah, I can stand over here and talk to you guys. I did get suckered into this edition of The Stand. Now, I should have maybe gotten the Barnes & Noble one, so I'd have a set. Yeah, I'm wearing sweatpants, so what? Was there an ass crack situation? Damn it. But I did get this, the Barnes & Noble, or the Books A Million edition of the unabridged The Stand. Because I thought it was a fine production. Pretty cool. Okay. You know? Books A Million. And it's the unabridged edition, my favorite edition. You know, the bonded leather one from Barnes & Noble, maybe a skosh better. Just a skosh. But I didn't do it. And to see Dark Regions trying to sell it like it's a thing is kind of funny. It's a little funny. So somewhat funny. The movies of The Stand completely turned me off from ever reading the book. Have you never read it, new body? I mean, did you watch the movies? Because then I feel for you. Like if I'm reading Nick Andros and picturing Rob Lowe, yeah. If I'm reading Stu Redman and picturing Gary Sinise, that's not so bad. I think he did a good job. If I'm reading Frances, what the hell was her name? Franny. Oh, man. I forgot her last name. And picturing Molly Ringwald, yeah, that's a bummer. But this is an excellent book. This is King on all cylinders, man. He thinks of every detail you could ever. I mean, it was amazing. This is an amazing book. And I'm far overdue for a reread. I planned on rereading it with the Cemetery Dance edition. Maybe it'll be the PS Publishing edition. Maybe it'll be the Books A Million one. I don't know. But I'm going to reread it. It's just an excellent book. So what? We deserve Plumber Craig. Yeah, I watched the movies. I'm not going to read the book. Okay. Well, you don't have to. You did kind of, getting any book through Dark Reaches Press is cheaper than Subpress, always, which makes no damn sense. Really? Yeah, Subpress always does that markup, Subpress always does the secondary market value on brand new books. And it's kind of a bummer, man. Kind of a bummer, The grown man said to Nipple Mike. So yes, Suntup, Dark Matter, got the perp. I'm going to show it again because I can't not show it. The perp. I mean, that's what I'm going to call it, the perp. Loved it. Stephen Dwayne Ellison Jr. And love it. And is very happy for it. And then the Hex is coming tomorrow. Hex will be here tomorrow, Stephen Dwayne Ellison Jr. Hex. And I'm going to unbox it and then post the video at some point. I'm going to do 2 videos tomorrow. My book haul and Hex. And can't wait to share them both. I'm done with Subpress, using Camelot to get any Subpress book I need, which is only Lansdale's books they may put out. I would say, Mike, a better strategy, one that's paid off for me with Cocoa Butternut and Fishing for Dinosaurs, is just to wait Subpress out. They will have a sale. And if it looks like it's going to sell out, Camelot can be your plan B, your safety net. That's what I would do. Because Radiant Apples, it's another book. Oh my God. Cocoa Butternut, Radiant Apples, and Fishing for Dinosaurs, I got on deep discounts. Because when they do a Joe Lansdale book, they do a 1,500 print run. It's an absurd amount of books. And they're always sitting on a bunch. I'm super glad I got Fishing for Dinosaurs. Not only because it was a tremendous sale, I think I got it for half off, but that turned out to be a book I would have been pissed if I missed. Has a lot of stuff in it that just it looks excellent. So the Hex Curse is finally broken. Not gonna lie, pretty excited for my Hex tomorrow. Excellent. That's cool. Wife just finished Hex today. She liked it as well. It's a great book. Back to Cemetery Dance for a moment. Do you want to do that, Hans? I don't know if my heart can take it. Do you think the lateness of A Face in the Crowd and the canceling of orders through Amazon will be the final straw for CD? I don't know. But when you mess with Jeff Bezos, it's not going to end well. And I don't know. I can't believe... I'm not going to disclose who I was talking to, but I was talking to a publisher, and I made it, based on this conversation, I told this person, I don't know how Cemetery Dance is staying in business. Because, the discussion was about overhead and running a business, and the lights have to stay on, right? The bills have to get paid. The printers are sending you bills. You have to pay the bills to get the books. You have to order the materials, and everybody wants their money. And to miss a deadline or to not hit a target with income, you become. If you don't have a healthy line of credit from a bank, you are done as a business. And banks need to know you have enough cash on hand to withstand a downturn and other things. I'm not a banker, I don't know, but I mean, there's certain metrics you have to hit. So constant sales, keep the cash flowing. And there's a healthy cash flow in a business. You have confidence from the bank. They'll extend some credit. You have some leeway. You can do some things. You have options. I have no idea how Cemetery Dance is still in business. They have 20 lives, because if you go to the Dark Tower forum, the very first comments about Cemetery Dance in the forum on the message boards are all about how, where's this book? I don't even remember what it was. It was like back in 2007. I don't remember how far back it went. It was before I got involved with Cemetery Dance. But they're like, they can't deliver books on time, this, that. Brian James Freeman probably is the whole reason they turned around. And now they're right back. So I don't know how they could possibly stay in business. It's like, to use another football analogy, or to use a football analogy, to bring it back to football. Chismar does his Hail Mary of trying to get this $4,000 pamphlet out the door because it's signed by Stephen King. Hey, Stevie, Uncle Steve, Steve man, I need a little help. I'm in a bind here, I'm in a bind. I need to make the cash happen. I'm not asking for a loan, Stevie. Just asking. How about I promote a story you did with Stuart Onan that anybody can get for free on Kindle, and then you sign it okay? You sign it and then we sell it to the rubes for $4 large, huh? These completists, they need all the Stevie Sigs they can get. All right, Chiz, just put my balls down for a minute. Uncle Steve's got to go sign the sheets for you. Okay, all right, thank you. And he kisses the ring, and he walks out. And he gets that done. So there's a cash infusion of the rubes. 52 rubes. I'm sorry. You're a rube if you bought that book for $4,000. I don't care if you're Bill Gates and you just found $12 million in an old suit jacket, and that's a Gary Goldman joke for those who know. Go watch it. He's hilarious. Speaking of mental health, but I don't care if your accountant got on the phone with you today and said, "Look, you're headed over a tax cliff. If you don't spend money right now on stupid impulse buys, you're going to get hammered on taxes." All right, what do I got to do? I don't know, buy a BMW, buy a Ferrari coffee table. Hey, you know what? Go buy a face in the crowd. Okay. All right, if I have to. Even if that was your situation and you had to bail out the Titanic in order to stay in a good tax territory, there's no excuse. You should have just bought $4,000 worth of Starbucks coffee. You get more out of it. Apologies to anybody who bought Face in the Crowd. Warehouses are cheap AF in Maryland. Apparently they are. You're the most knowledgeable booktuber I know. Scully, I am not, but I appreciate it. I really do. I hope you publish a book. I'd love to publish a book one day. I got to write a book one day. So, where are we at? You can always tell when they are short of money. A bunch of eBay auctions come up and they find old editions in the warehouse. Yeah, old editions. Yeah, they find all these PC copies. They find all these like, where did they come from? These books have been sold out forever. And they just, what? Man, it's, and you know what? It's like, every step of the way, I'm like, they were in a bind financially, and then Flight or Fright came out. I hate that name. That is the stupidest name. And it had a brand new King story in it, brand new Hill story in it, and then a bunch of reprints from other authors. And signed by King, that book still isn't out. All he has to do is promise a King signature. $1,500 for that book. And it's better because there's actually new content in that book. Well, not now. Now you can get it probably on Kindle for 99 cents. But at least that was a concept. And it had a King signature. And I'm sure the tray cases are deep in production. I canceled my Flight or Fright order because they just couldn't get it to me. I saw it. The straw was, I went to a secondhand bookstore and I saw a whole stack of the trade editions of Flight or Fright. And I'm like, no, I'm canceling my artist edition. There's no reason I have to wait another minute. And I did. So I canceled like 6 books that day. But that's the thing. Like, every time they get in these binds, there's either a new Stephen King thing. I totally think they took orders for The Stand and Pet Sematary as a way to get cash infusion. 100% they print crazy amounts of overrun books exclusively to sell on eBay. Yeah, I definitely think that would be the plan now. Like, maybe it wasn't the plan before. Maybe it was sort of like, hey, these warehouse finds really saved our asses. Maybe. I don't know. But the other thing that doesn't make any sense is that their auctions fetch a lot more than secondary market values at any given title. Like, if a book sells for $100 on eBay, and Cemetery Dance sells it on eBay, if it's them, that book is going for $200, $250. They sold Goblin by Josh Malerman, the Earthling edition, for like $650, $630. That book at best was $400. Like, I never saw it get to the highest I think I've ever seen Goblin previous to that was $350. Then Cemetery Dance sells one and it goes for $630. Fishy stuff, man. That's fishy stuff. I don't know. Clarice, you're just a rube. Are the lambs silent now, Clarice? I don't know if she ever answered. The 3 people I know that pre-ordered that Chiz lettered regretted it immediately. They canceled their orders. Yeah. That's just... Jeff will start Boogeyman Press, a specialty press devoted to the catalog of Bentley Little. Well, that's a good idea. You know what? Maybe I'll do Bentley Little rebinds. I'll go to all the thrift shops and buy the Bentley Little books that are there in abundance, and I'll rebind them. And I'll call my press a little more. I canceled my order for the stand after they shipped out the Vandermeer book. Huh. I didn't cancel my stand. I really want it. I really do. It chapbook. Yes. Oh, the It chapbook. So I am a huge fan of It. It's what got me to Cemetery Dance in the first place. Their 25th anniversary edition of It is slightly over-designed, but epic. I love that book. And Stephen King wrote a new afterword for the book exclusively. And to promote the book, this is back when Cemetery Dance was still scrappy and still, I don't know, had passion. And they did this little chapbook that just contained Stephen King's afterword. And, it just miraculously never went out back in the day? Something like that. But then they just recently found it. Are you sure? Are you sure you didn't just rebind his chapbook or his forward into a little chapbook and then sell it for $200 a crack? I don't know. I don't know anybody who got it back in the day. Maybe it was. Maybe it's a totally legitimate thing. But it seems like it'd be a pretty easy thing to crank out. A little chapbook supporting the release of It. So that was another cash grab. And so, yeah, it's wrong. And then another book Chismar is making people wait for is Stephen King Revisited. So essentially, he's doing what Z-Man's doing, but he's making bank on it. He's reading Stephen King books and then doing book reports on them. And that's a book. I need a compendium of what Richard Chismar thinks of Stephen King works. Again, that should be a blog. I'm reading Stephen King. Well, follow me next month for Pet Sematary. Okay, I might read it if it's free. I would say the Earthling ceiling on that title should be $350. I think so. Yeah, it was a blog. That's true. Stephen King Revisited was a blog. It was. I forgot about that. I bought the It chapbook. I paid $200, and then I got a second one by buying Chasing the Boogeyman 2 and sending the pre-order info to CD. They sent me a second It chapbook. Wow. Now you could just sell that one, make bank on it. Now Goblin sales are $450 now. Really? I haven't priced it. Goblin makes me think of Gothic because that's another really hard to find Earthling book. And that makes me think of, where's the Gothic slipcase, man? From Paul Michael Caine. Did anybody... I'm sure everybody's got theirs. I'm sure everybody's got theirs by now except me. Gothic slipcase to match Boys in the Valley. So, yeah. Just thought about that. Did anybody else buy their different seasons direct from PS with the reserved link? I ordered a Gothic slipcase that can wait for him to finish them nicely. Oh yeah, yeah. I can too. I'm waiting. Paul Michael Caine's got all the time in the world for me. I'm not sweating it. I just was wondering if anybody got theirs yet. That's all. I wasn't like putting the screws to them. You know, that's what they do in Jersey. They put the screws to them. I wasn't sending some Teamsters out there. I was just saying. Yeah. Any word on the Gothic slipcases? No, I haven't heard anything. I thought they were supposed to be out by now. What does the 19th edition site say? Lightbox. It's oh shoot, what did I do? Lightbox. Let's see. Newest to oldest. Gothic slipcase. Oh, he's done a lot of stuff I never saw. Oh, Richard Bachman. $19 bookmark. I didn't see that. When did he do that? Richard Bachman. I love his currency, constant currency stuff. Okay. 19th edition, Philip Fracassi, Gothic slipcase pre-order. It is sold out. Final. This is a pre-order due to. It'll be summer shipping in early summer 2023. So okay, so that's what it says on the site. Summer 2023. Jeff, you had one job. I don't even have one job. PMK was doing the 19 Days of May, and that was probably crazy busy with. Yeah. Earthling Goblin can be purchased from me for nothing less than an Earthling Boys in the Valley, even trade. Even Steven. Oh, Chad Lutsky's here. You don't tell him we were talking about him. Chad's here. Go get the book, which, hey, Chad Lutsky book, it's in the description. I have the link to it in the description. Here's the thing, full disclosure, you buy something off the link in my description, if it takes you to Amazon and you buy anything, Beef Daddy gets a cut. So make Beef Daddy rich. That was tacky. Not as tacky as Nipple Mike. Hans, Boys in the Valley is a $600 plus book. With the slipcase? New book out tomorrow. How the Skin Sheds. Already putting your pennies in a jar, Jeff. Yes, so that's what I was going to say. It's in the description. Go buy it. How the Skin Sheds. Splatter Western. Was it Death's Head Press? Doesn't matter. It's a Chad Lutsky book. I don't care if it's a CD book. I'm buying it. So go check that out. A Splatter Western. Yep, ordering that one tonight, Chad. Yeah, I should be getting it tomorrow if I get in time. Oh, by the way, there were Chad. Are there any more copies from Thunderstorm of Cannibal Creator? No. Somebody sent me a link. Screaming Cacti Lettered, Bridge of Souls by Greg Gaffoon and Sandy DeLuca. This is a Thunderstorm Screaming Cacti, but it's purple, lettered edition. But somebody sent me a link over the weekend that Cannibal Creator was available for purchase from Thunderstorm. And I'm like, hey, dude, I already got it. He's like, whatever, bro. No, he was cool. And so, but it's not available anymore, I see. That was surprising. Yeah, Death's Head, imprint of Dead Sky. Yes. Paul finally posted in his newsletter about Cannibal Creator, and there was one left. I posted on social media, and it was gone within a minute. Yeah, it was gone by the time I checked my email. So I'm glad I got it. Thank you for the heads up, and I'm glad I was able to buy one. You can have my earthling boys in the valley for for Father Cody Salem's lot in very fine condition or better, even trade. This is escalating, Hans. Hans is really running up the chain of collectibles. Trading. He's going to trade Goblin for Boys in the Valley, Boys in the Valley for like a $8,000 Salem's Lot or whatever that is. Father Cody. Oh, look at that. Look at that, Mitch. There's like all this silt in the bottom. Really appreciate you grabbing a copy of Cannibal Creator, Jeff, but I think you should have gone south instead. It was a dilemma, man. I was there. I was in this moment. And I'm like, gone south, Cannibal Creator. You know what won the day? It was a lettered thunderstorm. Chad Lutzke book. Only 26. I mean, I have the paperback. I read the paperback. I love the paperback, but at the end of it, there was no contest. But it was like, damn you. I was so proud of myself. I'm like, I passed on Gone South. I absolutely wanted that book so bad. I'm like, nope, stay strong, man. Stay strong. Cool. You gotta be an adult for once in your life. Just got a look from producer Jill. And then sure enough, just as I'm feeling high and mighty and invincible and like, wow, I actually said no to the devil. I said, not today, Satan. And Chad Lutzke's like, hey, I'm Satan. Guess what? Chad, why did you do me like that? And then Chad Lutzke's telling me to keep my hair long. I'm like, I can't keep my hair long. I don't have the discipline to keep long hair. Hans, slow down, buddy, before you earn the name Hans with a $sign. I'd settle for a very fine first U.S. Rage paperback, I guess. Sediment is normal, don't worry. It's just yeast and stuff, though you may have some gas later. Oh, gassy beef daddy. Oh, you got a huzzah for giving me the evil eye, Jill. I'm actually reading Gone South right now, about halfway through it. It's my first time reading McCammon. How do McCammon fans rate that book amongst his catalog? I don't think it's that well regarded. I don't think it's up there. It is like A Boy's Life or Swan Song or Wolf's Hour. In fact, I don't know if I've ever read that book, but I really wanted it. But I don't know. I don't know where it is in his canon. Are you enjoying it? That's the question, Jason. Saw your interview with the Miamiville horror director. Loved that documentary. Such a cool surprise. Then I saw the AMT Limited and drooled for a bit. Would love to have it, but way out of my price range. Yeah. Very well, actually. Pelvis. What? Oh, is it really? It's up there in the there's pelvises in there? The pelvis? Pelvis. So yeah, it was a blast talking to Eric Walter, and just I just seen that Miamiville horror documentary, and I'm like, I get to talk to this guy. Like he went in on this Danny Lutz guy, and man, it was crazy that Danny Lutz, no matter what happened in that house, it messed up those kids. Like that's not acceptable. Their parents put them in danger for either profit or publicity or whatever they were seeking. They put their kids last. And Danny Lutz is paying the price every day of his life. It messed them up, and it's awful. I'm enjoying it well enough. I'll have to see how it ends. I mean, McCammon's a great author, so the only book of his that I started that I didn't finish was Stinger, and I want to reread that. I need to give it another shot because he doesn't fail. Gone South has a pretty solid reputation among McCammon heads. It's been a while, but I recall Gone South being closer to a Lansdale concept than your usual McCammon. Interesting. The stepdad was abusive as well. Yeah, the stepdad was the whole. If that house was haunted by anyone, it was the stepdad. He was a tyrant, and that kid grew up under the abuse of that man and in the shadow of that man, and only until he died, George Lutz died in 2006, was Danny Lutz ever free. It does have a similar vibe to a lot of Lansdale that I've read. Yeah, it's like, Southern Gothic is how I take that. But I recommend McCammon. But then again, Jason, you're not a King fan, right? So I think McCammon is better than King in a lot of ways. And I say that as somebody who really in recent years cannot stand the King books I'm reading. Or I don't want to say that. In a lot of ways, I'm just annoyed by King character development. And so I've never been annoyed by a Robert McCammon story. He's not hokey or corny. And King can be. Yeah. So anyway, I don't have much else to say. Yeah, there's a lot of Amityville horror available if you are somebody. Oh, and Suntup put on the order page for Amityville horror that there were 22 copies below 250 designation available. So if somebody wanted to buy a copy of Amityville horror from Suntup, you can get a number below 250. Whatever you do, Jason, at least read Boy's Life before you decide not to read him anymore. Did you all mention Screaming Cacti Lettered yet? There's a Lutsky title. It's gone. I did just mention it, Hans, and it was gone. There was one copy left, and it sold out in a few minutes. Time to hit the road. Good night, all. All right, good night. Good night. I'm leaving too. I'm out of here. You guys can hang out if you'd like. It's going to be really weird because you're just going to be like in nowhere. I'm going to close the simulation for the evening. But thank you for being here. I love it. I love having you guys here. That's good. I might hopefully get June Suntup numbered. Good night. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you do. Hope you had a respectful Memorial Day. And good luck at work tomorrow. Whatever you do for, the income. If, I've heard that's a thing. So good night, everyone. See you next week. Stay frosty.